your weekly astrology forecast and lunar eclipse outlook starting March 10th, 2025. So, on Monday, March 10th, we have the moon in early Leo. And of course, what is Leo? Leo is the fifth house. It's all about children's interests. It's all about that sense of positivity, gambling. And the fifth house is all about what? Speculation of all kinds. And Leo is all about, yes, the show. So with early moon in Leo, we are feeling rather affectionate, and with the trine to both retrograde Venus and Mercury on Monday, that gives us a sense of enthusiasm, a real sense of wanting to express our affection and our love. And it gives us also a little bit of sense of luck, which is great, especially because Venus, the planet of love and affection, is retrograde right now. But the depositor of the moon is what? It's the sun in Pisces. So on Monday, there may be cause to be rather sensitive to those around us or whatever may occur with us right now on Monday, where we have to apply some compassion and sensitivity, yet we will have this sense of enthusiasm with regards to our relationships and just in general. It's kind of a lucky influence with Venus in Aries, even retrograde, and Mercury, the communicator. So that's what we are communicating Monday morning, our sense of compassion, love, and affection. And it doesn't hurt to show off a little bit, because that's how we're feeling, a little daring and a little creative as well. And of course, Mars is in Cancer, not at its best, so we may have to kind of watch our defenses, so to speak. We don't want to take too much offense during this reign of Mars in Cancer and end up coming across as overly sensitive or touchy. But it does make a kind of a wide and approaching a closer sextile to Uranus, which is all about creativity and inventiveness and so on and so on. So that's really positive to really express our originality and a bit of rebellion, but in a positive direction. And of course, the sun is still in Pisces, conjoining Saturn. That really gives us now a sense of responsibility. We may really be focused on our work now and really digging in. And well, with Pisces, there's always that sense of wanting to express our emotions in everything we do now. And it is also a very creative influence because we're talking Pisces and the 12th house, and it's with Neptune. So, yet still, this is a time to express our emotions, even with our work. And it is a time that we will have heightened a sense of emotionalism, sense of compassion, because we're talking Pisces, and that's all too good. But we can't ignore we have that sense of responsibility. Now, we have the South Node in Virgo, making an opposition to what? Very late Neptune in Pisces. So, what is Virgo? Virgo is very analytical, very critical. And when it makes an opposition to nebulous Neptune, well, Virgo is all about the facts. Virgo is all about, uh, yes, analyzing, critiquing, order, and so on and so forth. And it's the sixth house, so it's all about our work and it's all about health and wellness. But for that matter, so is Pisces. And of course, Neptune is the depositor still of the Sun, Saturn, and even the North Node in Pisces. So right now, because we're talking this opposition with the South Node and Neptune in Pisces, there is still one or more subjects that we may feel is a bit hidden from us. Publicly, personally, what is it that we need to figure out? What do we need to pick apart? Now, Pisces is the opposite of Virgo, so Pisces really isn't about the details. So, with the opposition with Neptune and the South Node, we may become confused starting off this week and for pretty much most of the week about details about our work or business situation, and this can also include issues with diet, exercise, healthcare, and these are going to be in the news or a concern with our life now. Healthcare, our sense of order, but we will have to separate the wheat from the chaff when we are confused regarding our work and business and organizing. So keep that in mind this week. And of course, Jupiter is still in Gemini. Oh, that gives us a whole lively sense of communication, and with Jupiter and Gemini wanting to connect all forms of communication, social media, that's what Jupiter and Gemini is about. All forms of communication, social, everything and anything. And of course, it's the third house. So right now it's about communicating, about travel and going places, seeing new faces. Jupiter is all about social, anything, everything, communication. So as we start out the week on Monday, it's all about our compassion, always with that Pisces. It's about communicating, expressing ourselves, and with that Leo moon, expressing ourselves rather romantically and simply very sensitively, which is all very positive and with a sense of enthusiasm. So we're starting off the week of the 10th very, very good. So let's look ahead to the next day. Yes, indeed, which is the 11th of March. And the moon is further along into Leo, that sense of the creative and a little bit of the expression, that sense of luck. Oh, yes, still remains on Tuesday, yes. But there is an applying square within a day between the moon in Leo and Uranus, the unexpected planet, but also creative and one of humanity and so on, and rebellion. So on probably late Tuesday going into Wednesday, there goes that sense of rebellion again with the moon in Leo and making a square to Uranus, and that can also equal earthquakes because Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, is an earthy Taurus right now. So for the next couple days on Tuesday and into Wednesday, March 11th, there may be some concerns with the weather, earth changes, earthquakes, and so on for the next couple days. And so we're just going to have to keep a eye out for that. Now, the day before, I would like to mention uh, on Monday, also, when the moon was in early Leo, there was an opposition to Pluto. And as always, what is Pluto? It's power. It is the powers that be. So on Monday, to start off, there may be some conflicts with those in power. So really watch in all this goodness on Monday, how you relate, how you communicate and connect with those in positions of power, because we have the moon in fixed Leo early on Monday and Pluto in powerhouse, and that can also mean publicly there may be some authority figures that there could be a little bit of a clash. So we're going to look out for that. So let's look to the next day, which is March the 12th. Now, whoop, there goes that script again. And the moon is void in Leo and heading into Virgo. Yes, and while the moon is in late Leo, it's not really making any significant aspects too much, but now we have this official square on Wednesday. So, as aforementioned, there could be some earth changes, and again, that sense of rebellion with Uranus in stubborn Taurus, very earthy Taurus, and the moon in Leo. And there is almost an out of sign, what is called a quincunx aspect, kind of tense between the moon and Pluto. So the theme days before with those in positions of power, and then for us communicating with those in power, could be a little bit of an ouchy point. So we're going to have to try to find a way in getting along with sometimes managers, those that we have to communicate with us that, yes, are in authority. Just be careful that you don't step on the wrong person's toes on Wednesday. And the sun is still in Pisces, Saturn, then North Node and Neptune, all kind of conjoining each other now, and making this opposition yet to the South Node in Virgo. So the health wellness theme is still there, and the sense is building as we get closer to the opposition with the Sun and Saturn, uh, not just Neptune, to the South Node. So big on the secrets, big on the mysteries this week as well. What is it that we have got to figure out? What mysteries? But as always, Pisces is good for expressing our true self, really opening up and having that sense of sensitivity for this time, that the Sun and Saturn and Neptune and the North Node are all in Pisces, and that is what we must remember. But there is also now the Sun at 21 degrees of Pisces, a beautiful trine with Mars. So this gives us a real opportunity to really express our caring to someone. Yes, we may be a little bit touchy, Mars in Cancer, but with the trine to both Saturn and the Sun, it also gives us a really strong sense of responsibility and really kind of staying at the office late, the desire to really kind of look over our work and really enjoy what we're doing with that Sun, Saturn, making a trine to Mars. It's really expressing our energy effectively, and that is what's going to be prominent also this week as we get into Wednesday. So that's good. We're going to be a little bit holding over at the office, really enjoying what we do, and because it's water, as always, it's really about expressing our emotions in everything that we do, which is, of course, a positive. And we're going to go into the next day. Whoop, there we go. We're going to go into the next day here. Here we go. And it's the script just loves to come up there. Okay, the next day is Thursday, March 13th. Yes, and now the moon is officially into Virgo. And this is good because it is going to apply a sextile to Mars. So Wednesday kind of starts off that theme with the trine between Sun and Saturn to Mars. With work, really feeling at ease with our work, enjoying expressing our personal style with our work, really putting our all into business work and so on. But now that you've got the moon in Virgo, moon in Virgo is all about the critique. So this is really giving us more of an impetus to work and work hard and check and recheck those details. So as we get into midweek, that's going to be a lot of our focus, our goals, and of course, what else is Virgo, health, wellness, and as always, it's the sixth house and sometimes overlooked, but the moon in Virgo connects with our animal friends, our pets. And so there may be an issue connected with animals, our animal friends, pets, and so on this week, not just about the details and work and healing and health and wellness, which of course is going to be a focus once that moon gets into Virgo towards the end of the week, maybe midweek on Wednesday. However, there is a square between Jupiter and the moon, and always the square with Jupiter and the moon is all about kind of feeling a little bit happy-go-lucky. And because Jupiter is all about prosperity and fortune and so on, and our luck, of course, it's going to be all about here about wanting to express our desire to, well, gamble a little bit. Maybe we will overlook some of those details in our need to be speculative. So don't really speculate too much on Thursday, whether that has to do with your investments, whether that has to do with making choices. You want to take a hint here with Virgo and you want to think things through. Don't react too quickly. And also, because the moon is squaring happy-go-lucky Jupiter, we may have a tendency to what? Overspend. It's about not looking at the details, and that's one thing. Come Thursday, we will have to be very cautious about. We don't want to get so caught up in our work or caught up in so many choices on Thursday that we overlook those details and make some sloppy choices, and that can sometimes cause some sloppiness with our work or with our business, and then our luck won't be so good. So take a hint from that, and as I mentioned, be careful of the overspending and so on. And there's also a quincunx between retrograde Venus in Aries and Mercury at 9 degrees Aries. So that does add a little bit of tension, especially now that Venus, the planet of love and affection, is retrograde. So a lot of stuff from the past is going to be coming up that may be ex-loves from the past, but it could also be issues, and we will have to just keep in check some of our need to really speak our mind, because we're talking Aries here, direct or retrograde, either way. So we have to kind of keep in check. And on Thursday, our sense of impulsiveness. We really want to speak our mind. And because we're talking Mercury's quincunx, or in conjunct the moon in Virgo. So if we feel like we've been a little bit slighted on Thursday, this is the time that we just have to just stop and think a little bit. Mercury and Venus are just wanting to react impulsively. This is not the time, because with Virgo there, we may feel a little bit overly critical, or we may feel criticized on Thursday and react rather inappropriately. So do keep that in mind on Thursday. And we're going to look ahead to the next day. And also, there is one last thing for Thursday. There is a wide quincunx with the moon. So that could also be an issue with power and those in power again on Thursday. Okay, so let's look to the next day, which is Friday. Yes, March 14th, also the day of the lunar eclipse, full moon. Yes, indeed. The moon is now full in the sign of Virgo, and officially making that opposition not just to the sun, but to Saturn and the North Node and Neptune. Oh boy, yes, cannot say it enough. No, 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 no. When you've got this opposition with the Pisces stellium and the moon in Virgo, yes, yes, indeed, it brings back the topics of, that's right, mystery, secrets, hidden everything and anything, and especially up until the next new moon. And we've got a lunar eclipse here, so that kind of heightens a little bit of our emotions, and it heightens our need to really do some digging and research. What is it personally, publicly, that we feel that we just don't have the truth? Yes, indeed. And this can include the areas of business or businesses of all types, the workforce, employment, more personally and publicly as well, these topics in the news. And it can also be a concern with medicine, yes, healthcare, diet, exercise, or anything that has to do with such. Okay, and of course, anything to do with pets, because that is also the sixth house. And what else Neptune deals with water and oceans, liquids, oil. So during this time, there may be issues with oil, the ocean, water, and liquids. So we're going to have to keep a watch out for that. And because of this opposition between the moon in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces, Sun, Saturn, North Node, well, there's a little bit of some opposition there about what? Criticism. Yes, it's good for research, but the more we research, the more we look into something, the more confused we may become. Uh, but we may feel that although, yes, it's good for research, it's good for really critiquing those details. Well, yes, there's going to be confusion, but during the time of this opposition with the full moon in Virgo and this Pisces stellium, this is a time we're going to have to be cautious of our criticizing and critiquing others. And this may cause further confusion in our communications and our relationships with each other, because we may be confused about how we feel emotionally, Pisces, and really kind of picking apart the good and the not so good with all forms of relationships. In this time, we have to be careful we don't overdo it with the criticism, because that'll cause more confusion, and it may cause more tension in our relationships. Although, yes, again, this is going to be a superb time to do some digging of the facts and figure out why we are not being told the truth. Or maybe we are, but nonetheless, after the time of this full moon, lunar eclipse, blood moon, on the next new moon, well, we will have the answers that we are seeking to what we are not being told. And so that can include personally and publicly. This is what is really going to capture our attention. And we will have to be careful during the time just before, after the lunar eclipse, not to get overly defensive, overly sensitive, overly emotional. We want to just kind of tame or cut back on a little bit of the drama. That's what to keep in mind. And there could be some issues that could cause us a little bit of some sadness or melancholy. But with Pisces, because it is all about healing, you can guarantee we will get through it. And let's move on to the next day, which is Saturday. Yes, the script just keeps coming up there. Okay, for March 15th. All right, so the moon, oh, how sweet, is in friendly, sociable Libra and making a beautiful, sweet trine to the powerhouse of Pluto. Yes. So what does that mean? Well, earlier in the week, maybe up until midweek, there was issues with authority. Maybe we were in conflicts with authority. Maybe authority said or did something that we weren't too thrilled about. That can be personally and, of course, publicly. So everything seems to get along swimmingly now over the weekend on Saturday the 15th. We are just really wanting to connect and communicate, because that's what air is about. Air is very social, and with Libra, it's all about cooperation, it's all about harmony, it's all about socializing, really an exchange of an idea or ideas. And that's going to be the theme on Saturday. Now, on Saturday, there is not actually until Sunday an official trine with Jupiter in Gemini. Nonetheless, it does lend for some of that very airy, intellectual, social exchange communication. And so that is going to be the theme as we get into this week, and especially Saturday. We're feeling rather restless. We want to get out and about. We want to talk. We want to exchange ideas. And this only heightens not only the good communication now over the weekend with those in power, but it kind of heightens the exchange of ideas and communications of all kinds. That which represents what? Our humanity. That is Pluto in Aquarius. Invention, space, communications, there's that word again, of all types, whether it's the internet, whether it deals with, well, mechanics, that's more Virgo, but in a way, computers, AI, this type of theme, space, so on and so forth over the weekend. But boy, with this connection, although not officially a trine, between the moon, Pluto, grand trine that is, and Jupiter over the weekend, we are just feeling rather restless and want to just talk, and communicate to the best on Saturday. But that's kind of a refreshing change from a lot of focus on our work and confusion in other areas over the week. It's all about opening up and really speaking our mind. And not only that, now there is an opposition between Mercury and Venus by conjunction, and Venus, of course, retrograde, and the moon. So kind of when there's the opposition here, it's kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, we want to help others and assist others, and on the other hand, they want to assist us, and it's really good. And of course, we're talking Libra, so it's all about cooperation and beauty and our creativity, which is really good, especially since the moon is in an opposition to its depositor of Venus retrograde. So what does this all mean? It means that relations may be a little tense with regards, especially with love and relationships, and of all kinds of relationships, whether it's work, employees, family, you name it, any and all business. And by the way, it will be very good, not just for our creativity, but very good for making agreements and business. But with this opposition, on one hand, we have this need to please and to help each other, which is very beneficial on Saturday. Very good. But on the other hand, and we want to cooperate, this Libra Aries axis. But on the one hand, we don't want to kind of just go with the flow just to keep the peace. If there's something we have to say, this is the time because of this opposition. And we may feel very strong about our opinions, Mercury in Aries and the moon in Libra, but it's either that we are apt to speak our mind and speak our mind impulsively, Mercury and Aries, or we may feel like it's best, well, we're just going to get along to get along. But in the long run, you don't want to just go and get along and kind of hide your own personal opinions because of this opposition. you want to speak your mind. So if I gave any advice for the weekend for Saturday, it would be say what you have to say. Mercury is in Aries, Venus is in Aries, and take a hint from Libra and try to be as cooperative as you can. But do be on the lookout for that sense of conflict or tension there that we will have to relieve. And it's all about harmony and what else with Pisces? Compassion. And that is what is paramount now. And we're going to move to the next day, and we are looking at the final day of the week, which is Sunday. And that script just it keeps coming up. I have to do something about that. March 16th on Sunday. And now the moon is further along in Libra. Yes. And look at this. It makes a sweet trine to lucky Jupiter in Gemini. Oh, how sweet that is. Oh, that just kind of picks up the theme of communication on Saturday. Oh, that's really nice. And it gives us a sense not just of a lot of ideas, a lot of harmony, it also gives us this sense of restlessness. So kind of like Saturday, the whole weekend, we're feeling restless. This is a time we're either going to be traveling or a lot of discussions about traveling. This is the theme on Sunday. It's all about making plans. It's all about really just this lively banter between everyone right now, all about those ideas. So whatever is transpired on Saturday, we might be getting some really good news unexpectedly. And so this may be reason for so much communication on Saturday and Sunday. We just have to reach out, connect, travel, socialize, you name it. And because of communications, maybe the news will have something to do with that. Maybe a new invention. Maybe we are hearing just good news in general, and it just makes us want to connect with each other, which is all good indeed. Yes, and at 16 degrees, the moon in Libra is making a square to Mars. Oh, ouchie Mars. So in all this good news, whatever is coming up on Saturday and Sunday, we do have Mars still in touchy Cancer, making the square to harmonious, creative, beauty-oriented Libra. So this is not all bad because of the sweet trine to Jupiter, but it could make us a little bit snappish and in regards to relationships. Why? Because the depositor of the moon in Libra is, yes, retrograde Venus. And although there's not really an official square, there's a minor aspect between Venus and Mars, the action planet. We have to keep in mind that we will feel a little touchy now with this square between Mars and the moon in Libra, and we'll have to be much more careful on Sunday not to be so impulsive, not to speak our mind without thought. We have to keep that in mind because although there's this sweet feeling Jupiter and moon trine, there's also this bit of some oversensitive square off with the moon in Libra. So on one hand, we want to communicate, but we don't want to be so caught up with feeling good or whatever good news that we're getting over the weekend that this may cause us to not really watch our words and watch our actions. And because we're talking cardinal signs here, we may want to get our way in a certain issue. And that may kind of be cause for some, maybe some minor conflict or disagreements. We're feeling just a little bit edgy or jaded on Sunday, even when we want to communicate and keep the peace. So we're going to have to find the balance between wanting to keep the peace and the flurry of discussions and the good news and the touchy Mars and Cancer with a little bit of the leadership of Libra. So take a hint from Libra. Take a hint from Mars. It's all about acting compassionately, being very sensitive, and wanting to cooperate, to get along, express your creativity, your sense of love and beauty, and another thing, the moon in Libra is all about legalities. Yes, so there may be some information that comes up about courts, legal, everything, anything, public relations, you name it. Yes, even over the weekend, but it could start on Friday when the moon goes early on into Libra. So, uh, that is your weekly astrology forecast and lunar eclipse outlook. And until next time, many blessings.